So I'm Nicolas, this is Andres, and this is Nick, and we are here to talk to you about our proposal for Tondo, Manila, which is called ISDA, which means fish in Tagalog. So this is a map of Manila. As you can see here, Tondo is a district of Manila, and it's an informal settlement. It's the biggest informal settlement in the world. And most residents work as scavengers in this place that it acts as a dump site for the metropolitan area of Tondo, of Manila. Sorry. I'll get some emails. So as you can see, the problem, the main problem over there is the problem of waste, and the living conditions are quite severe. The issue of waste comes from the fact that they have not found any other way of processing all the trash that's generated, and it impacts every aspect of their lives. So it leads to unemployment, lack of education, high crime rates, shorting of housing, unhealthy food, which leads to a lot of diseases, which impacts mainly the economic aspect and has sanitation issues. And according to World Bank predictions, this problem is not going to disappear, and actually it's going to increase. It will be multiplied by 2 in the next 5 years or so, reaching 80,000 tons of production of waste per year. So as I was saying, they eat food that is pretty bad. I'm sorry for those who have hard stomach, but this is basically what they call pakpak. It's chicken that they take from the waste and they boil it, and this leads to a lot of diseases that they develop. And the issue is that they also not able to grow anything there because the water is contaminated, and so is the soil because of all the waste that is there. And actually, Tondo used to be before a fishing village until 40 years ago when it became this waste yard. So in the class, we were asked to think about what would be a proposal for the next decade or so. And what we thought is that we could maybe try to leverage this waste since it's there and try to revive the culture of fishing, thus trying to produce healthier food options for the local communities, hindering diseases and empowering them with better economic means. So that's how we came up with our proposal. It's called ISDA. So as I was saying, it means fish in Tagalog, which is Filipino language. So it's a new system to grow fishes with waste. It's a system that is divided into 3 parts. The first part is a capturing and filtering system. The second part is the actual fish farm, where you would grow the fishes, and the third part is the nutrient extraction and getting into the growth part. So it's a microenvironment aquacultural unit. Andres will show us.
So this is the vision that we have for the project, where
the camera.
where the top filter will be a bit that can be taken off and on, so that they can access the fish. And we want to have it filter out the water in a reactive way, so that this module also acts as the regulator of the environment. So it can regulate organically with a self-expanding membrane, gas exchange, temperature conditions, the levels of water in the tank, and kind of maintain the homeostasis within the tank. The second part is the tank itself, which will have 2 uses. One is for growing the fish in the middle, and this is where all the environment is regulated. Then on the sides we have algae, so that the fish can feed from the roots of the algae, and then they'll have waste which will be collected through these channels, and through porous materials will be fed into the soil for the algae, so it becomes a closed loop cycle. Sorry,
Sorry.
one less. And well, the last component that the tank has, important one, is the electroactive polymers, which will harness the energy from the moving fish, and this will help us make the solution more self-sustainable energy-wise. Then the last part is the section where all the processing of the organic waste takes place. So we have this, the waste will be put in through a mechanism into the tank, and then we have these porous straws that will extract the nutrients, then filtering on top of a membrane that uses intestinal cells to fix the nutrients and components into the upper part, which then feeds into the algae as well. And it'll also have since it's organic waste, it'll produce a lot of methane. So we're planning to have a methane generator, heat generator in the middle, and this will feed into a thermal system that can help regulate temperatures of the tank. So we wanted to take some of the aspects that we're proposing, such as the filtering, the gas regulation, and the temperature regulation, and build it on a prototype that works today. So I'm gonna just start pouring in some water for the filter because it takes a long time. And then I'll explain a little of what this is doing at the end. But the prototype, what it does is, the central element is a heating system which uses Peltier. Peltier is a material that uses the same technology that you find in transistors. So when you push a voltage, it warms up on one side and cools down on the other. So we have that element central to the tank just to regulate the temperature. The second one...
Heating and cooling?
Yes,
Okay.
it has heating and cooling. It gets hot in Tondo sometimes in summer. So. The second main component is the filter, which is a commercial filter. It's based on the technology of the live straw. So this was really good because it's already filtering out 99% of bacteria, and it's off the shelf from Amazon. So we just adapted it into the system and we didn't put the water pump yet, but it's doing it through gravity right now. The third component are these two fans, which create a wind tunnel within the tank to facilitate gas exchange. And then we added the LEDs just because we want to understand what the tank is doing. It's more of a debugging tool for me because once it's working, you don't know what it's thinking. So it's just a good way to indicate what's going on within the tank. And finally, I'm missing one thing. No, I don't think I missed anything. Oh yeah, it also senses the level of water in the tank, so it can tell you that it's completely full. It needs more water with evaporation, or once it's heating up, it loses water, or if it has a leakage like we did. So that's kind of what's going on inside the tank. It's all contained into all the electronics are in the black components that you see, and the white component is just isolating the water. Yeah, I'll show you after.
So as we can regulate the perfect conditions, like water temperature for the fish, we calculated that if we used tilapia, the fish species tilapia, we could produce with every unit 100 pounds of fish per month. That will be enough to feed 2.5 families, and also a third of the fish production is used for them for profit. So they would have a revenue of $32 per month, which is a significant addition to their average income of around $12 to $15 per month. And then we've been looking at where, especially so within Tondo, where to focus. So here on the left side you see the harbor, That's not, but right next to the harbor is where the highest density of the informal settlements are. It's unfortunately even in the maps it's not really shown because it's not available within the CAD maps, but only on satellite imagery we could see where the informal settlements are placed, but the roads are there. So therefore, zooming in, the units will be placed in public space, and so especially around roundabouts and in the most densest areas, we placed the units like right in the middle.
So if you look at the picture of Tondo today, you can imagine that in the next decade or so, it would somehow look like a little bit like this. And also with while we were prototyping with the LEDs, we sort of realized that maybe one of the infrastructure that's also lacking in informal settlements is street lighting, and we thought that maybe at night it could be also serving as a purpose as an urban furniture and light the streets and reducing insecurity and so on. Also, we forgot to mention that the tank is actually made from a composite material from the recycled inorganic waste of Tondo.
It's doing it now, so so that means since it stopped filtering the water, it finished filtering all the water and it was cold. So right now it means that it's heating up. So the peltier is doing its job. I'll show you. It's gonna take a while to heat up, so. Okay, I'll show you.
No, anyways, it's just that was the last slide anyway. So
it's a lifetime also.
Yeah, in order to achieve growth without waste. Thank you.
There's the printing that it's heating the water. So it'll stop heating once it reaches 23 Celsius, which is this number right here. But while it heats up, I can explain the energy. So we made the calculations using the technologies that we're using within this prototype, and it was 298 kilowatt hours per year, and or 93, yeah, 93. 293 kilowatt hours per year. And we made separate calculations to see what types of generation with that, with simple dynamos or water flowing, or the electroactive polymers and PSO generators on the streets. So with just those simple solutions, you could manage to get up to 288 kilowatt hours per year. So you would only need 5 kilowatt hours more. So it's way less than running a light bulb for 1 day. So it was a good experiment, and that's true for the technologies that are within this prototype, but maybe in the other one. Yeah. So the CO2 is the red line over there. So if we blow inside with the straw, it starts immediately. Blow a little more. So it's really quick. You hear the fans, and it just extracts everything from the tank.